Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Agitio Vadia. I studied 8th grade at Nazarbayev Intellectual School in Uralsk from Kazakhstan. So today I'm going to present you my project called the Alternative Raw Material for Paper Pulp and the Paper Production. So why we started this project? Currently, we are facing a lot of community problems, which include deforestation and the waste brought by the improper defecation of horses. And we think that by utilization of horse manure, such as alternative source of paper, first we can lead to forest conservation, lessening of waste brought by the improper defecation of horses, and of course, launching a new product for business. So as I have told before, we are facing a lot of environmental problems, which include deforestation and the waste brought by the improper defecation of horses. And we can face it not only in our West Kazakhstan region, but also in whole Kazakhstan. In our project, we discuss the feasibility of horse manure as an alternative for material to produce organic paper. And according to, if we stop by the relevance of our topic, so by the development of intensive production, it resulted in the reduction and the deforestation of forest areas. Therefore, in the paper industry, there is a need to look for alternative sources other than forest trees. In areas where horses abound in livelihood is used, horse manure is one of the abundant solid waste, while trees are critically deforested due to their popular use in industry. And that to help conserve our nature, an alternative source of paper should be used. And the horse manure is a good source of fiber, which is the main ingredient for making organic paper. According to the Ministry of Environment Safety of Kazakhstan, pulp is the main source for paper production. However, the forests cover only 4.9% of our Kazakhstan's whole territory. And as I have told before, we have a little bit quantity of territory which is covered by the forest and the trees, and that's why Kazakhstan has to import the paper products from other neighbor countries such as Russia, China, Germany, Finland, and Turkey. And we can say that it is significant to find an alternative source of paper that saves resources and that is environmentally friendly. And the biological method that we are now discussing, the biological method of using horse manure as an alternative source of paper, may be a promising strategy to limit the deforestation. And it is also crucial for the community of West Kazakhstan region to lessen the horsification waste. Our project aims are firstly evaluate the use and the significance of paper products as well as the reaction of people to being it recycled. And the second, determine such properties of horse manure's paper such as capillary action, color, texture, moisture content, and the durability. Our project, we divided our project into two main parts. First, it is descriptive statistics. So we made a face-to-face interviews with individuals about their knowledge about the paper being recycled. And the second part, it is experimental parts where we tested our horse manure with the tests such as paper color, texture, capillary action, moisture content, and the durability. A survey that was conducted including 9 questions about how people use paper and how they respond to it being recycled. And according to the results of this survey, people aged 27 to 30 years old spend more paper than those who are in the year of 20 to 25. And 95% of people being interviewed answered that they don't know about the Kazakhstan factories that produce paper products. And to start this project, we of course prepared our materials. So firstly, we uh, collected 1,500 grams of fresh horse manure from the local West Kazakhstan region's farm, and then we prepared some special chemicals. So for the first step of our process is collecting some horse manure from a local Akshayk West Kazakhstan's region's farm. The second, it is prepare samples of horse manure. So firstly, we dried the 1,500 grams of fresh horse manure in the air for 24 hours to get rid of the moisture and the bacteria. And then this mixture was boiled in the oven for 4 hours. And then this massa was divided in 3 glasses, and some chemicals were added. The next step is whitening process. The samples were soaked in chlorine solutions and 35% hydrogen peroxide and starch solution. And the next and significant step is pressing and rolling the samples. So firstly, we used a rolling pin and strictly ensured that the fiber can enough be the same as our papers. And secondly, we repeated these stages with other 2 samples. The next our step, it is differentiating the horse manure and the cow manure. And we, in comparison to its original form, the fibers in the manure were much finer and formed thread-like structures after digestion. The next step, it is concluding the physical characteristics. So here we can say that the colors of our samples of the manure ranged from white to yellow. The next test is durability. So 3 samples were put to the test to see how long they would last. We used tearing strength and the following endurance tests. And to sum up these tests, we can say that first sample is the most nearest sample to our control, which is tissue and the toilet paper, because it broke after only 15 folds and 6 marbles. The next test is moisture content. So the surface water absorption of paper samples is determined by the change in the mass of the sample and the mass of water over a period of time. And the next, we concluded this test. So according to the conclusion, we can say that the first sample showed the best results because it was the nearest result to our control. The next test is capillary absorbance. So we took some pieces from our samples and put them in the water, and every 10 minutes the water's level was measured. And to conclude this test, we can say that the first sample was the nearest sample to our control with the result of 95 millimeters. The next test is paint effect. Paint was used to decorate each sample. In comparison to the other 2 samples, sample 1 developed quickly and evenly, and it was easily painted. But others took a long time to be decorated. Next is bacteriological analysis. So to see how the bacteria will develop in our samples, we made some preparation of agar substance, and then we monitored the samples. After 48 hours, we concluded that the first sample was the best samples because there wasn't any bacterial development. And then we monitored it with our control. So based on the data collected, it can be concluded that horse manure is a suitable alternative to plant-based paper. And our horse manure paper isn't only affordable, but it is also environmental friendly, neither affecting our environment nor threatening its rich biodiversity. And the growth of bacteria in our samples wasn't higher than the ordinary sanitary papers. And secondly, it can support local industries in West Kazakhstan region. And finally, it can encourage the processing of livestock waste while reducing the impact on the national forest. Future researchers should use a binding agent to make the paper more stable and lightweight. And we recommend using a machine to enhance its texture hence, improving its potential as a writing paper and the paper which is every daily used. Also, we recommend to add some designs or colors during the stage of sheet forming to be able to produce an affordable product for design purposes and our industry. Thank you very much.